Chapter 937. Show Your Fist. Zhang Yi only remembered some key information. The trip to Shingda will be led by the East China Sea region. So they will first take a military train to Donghai City and then go to Shingda from Donghai City. Zhang Yi estimated that they would either take a submarine or use the Shanh Wu super biological warship to dive near Shingda. This is to avoid being discovered by the Navy of Colombia and surrounding countries. After all, at this time, the Colombia Navy has probably known the news of the source of God and is also trying to find its whereabouts. Then, the other party will definitely keep an eye on all the actions of the two regions. After Zhu Zheng finished speaking simply and clearly, Zhang Yi and others entered the carriage one after another. Zhang Yi and the Nightcrow squad were in the same carriage. This newly formed team gave Zhang Yi a feeling of silence and death. It was not the coldness of ordinary soldiers. It was a machine-like feeling. Of course, this does not mean that they are robots. Zhang Yi can still distinguish between living people and machines. However, the 8 members of his team, including the Captain Jingwei, did not exchange a single word with him from beginning to end, and even their expressions and movements did not change. After entering the special train, they sat quietly in their seats. Just keep the same posture, and you can't even see any movement from beginning to end without careful observation. Zhang Yi didn't know where they came from, but he didn't care. The world is so big, there are so many things he doesn't know. If he digs into everything, he will be busy to death. So he took out his headphones and sat quietly on the special train to listen to music. There were no abnormal incidents along the way. The special train rushed like a dragon in the underground tunnel. After more than 3 hours, it began to slow down slowly, and finally stopped. A week later, Zhang Yi came to Donghai City again. They walked out of the special train, and Situ Xian brought some staff outside to have a formal exchange with the Donghai City officials who came to receive them. But among these people, Zhang Yi saw a familiar face. Li Tianyang, the head of the Donghai City Operations Department. Thinking of the guy's appearance when he had given him truth serum, Zhang Yi's brows immediately furrowed. Li Tianyang soon noticed Zhang Yi as well. He had been keeping a straight face and a sour expression. But after seeing Zhang Yi, this expression became even uglier. His eyes were as sharp and resentful as a venomous snake. Zhang Yi naturally understood why he looked like this. Because Zhang Yi later tricked him and provided him with false information. As a result, the East China Sea region worked in vain in the waters near Shingda. Zhang Yi laughed secretly in his heart. This was also Li Tianyang's own fault. He had clearly told the other party the real information at the beginning, but Li Tianyang himself didn't believe it and had to play tricks on him. Li Tianyang suddenly strode towards Zhang Yi. Chaos. Aren't you going to give me an explanation for what happened last time? Do you know how much time we wasted because of you, and we were almost discovered by the Colombia Navy? We also lost 2 deep-sea frogmen. This is all your fault. Li Tianyang scolded Zhang Yi harshly. And he was accompanied by 3 of the 4 spirits of the East China Sea region. This may be his confidence. Zhang Yi drooped his eyelids, his hands naturally fell to his sides, and said lightly, "Why, you still think you are right?" Huahua was still lazily lying on Leilei's head, but her squinting eyes revealed a slit, looking at Li Tianyang, Qinglong, and others. If Li Tianyang dared to take action here, there is no doubt that Zhang Yi and Huahua would fight back immediately. However, Li Tianyang was not the kind of stupid person who would take action at this time. He stared at Zhang Yi with a gloomy face and said coldly, Okay, it was I who underestimated you. Haha, Chaos, you are really good. But remember, after this mission is over, I will find a time to settle accounts with you. He was smart and went to give Zhang Yi a truth serum without authorization. He thought he had made a great contribution, but he didn't expect to work in vain and almost exposed his target. This incident made him lose face in the high-level officials of the East China Sea region. Naturally, he blamed all this on Zhang Yi. Situ Xian coughed, walked over and said with a smile, "Ministerly, we can discuss it slowly later. Is that okay?" Li Tianyang glared at Zhang Yi, snorted coldly, and turned away. From beginning to end, His expression was full of arrogance of a superior, not only to Zhang Yi, but also to the entire Jiangnan district delegation headed by Situ Xian. Confidence comes from strength. They are indeed arrogant because their military strength is superior to that of the Jiangnan district in all aspects. This attitude can be clearly felt by everyone present. This made everyone feel a little unhappy, but they did not get angry on the spot. Time waits for no one. Take them and set off immediately. Now we have to race against time. Li Tianyang glanced at his watch and said to Situ Xian in a cold voice. Situ Xian smiled and nodded. You are right. Please lead the way. We will go there soon. Li Tianyang got on a military vehicle and headed towards the port. Zhang Yi crossed his arms with a sneer on his face. The expressions on the faces of Deng Shintong, Ling Hu Feishue, and others were a little ugly. Although I know it will unfold like this, it still makes people feel very uncomfortable when it really happens. Deng Shintong said leisurely. This sentence can be regarded as the voice of everyone in the Jiangnan region. The investigation team that crisscrossed the Jiangnan region came to someone else's territory and was intimidated as soon as it came up. It seems that Li Tianyang is targeting Zhang Yi, but in fact, it also makes all the investigation teams lose face. Is this a warning to us? Li Long, the captain of the Iron Blood Squad, said in a hoarse voice. Situ Xian clapped his hands and said to everyone with a smile, Okay, don't worry about these little things. As the main force in defending the sea area, the East China Sea region has borne most of the pressure for us. They have some emotions, we should understand. But I believe that in the next mission, everyone will cooperate with each other well. Don't take this matter to heart. Let's go. Zhang Yi raised his eyebrows, with a playful smile on his lips. Situ Xian's words were quite good. Everyone also knew that this was not the time to be emotional, so they got on the military vehicles prepared by the East China Sea region. More than 1,000 people headed towards the seaport outside the East China Sea city. When they arrived at their destination, they saw the soldiers of the East China Sea region who had already lined up here. The port was surrounded by soldiers with live ammunition and extraordinary momentum. Before they approached, they felt a sense of killing. A show of force? Show your fist. Zhang Yi saw this scene through the window and sneered in his heart. The person in charge of this operation in the East China Sea region was Li Tianyang, and Zhang Yi had no good feelings for that guy. He wanted to ask the people of Jiangnan district for help, and at the same time, he wanted to suppress Jiangnan district. He was really a double-faced person. If you are really that awesome, why don't you go to Fog Valley and face the pressure of Columbia Navy? Zhang Yi said calmly. Chapter 938, I Deserve Yours. After the people from Jiangnan district arrived at the port, Li Tianyang looked back at them with a scornful smile on his face. Only by comparing with the people from Jiangnan district can the strength of their East China Sea district be highlighted. He said to the communicator, Shanh Wu, come out of the water. A moment later, the sea water around the port suddenly surged violently. Ling Hu Feishue and Zhang Yi had seen Shanh Wu before, so they were not too surprised. However, it was the first time for others to come here. When they saw the large-scale surge of seawater, they didn't know what happened. Is there something underwater? Is it a submarine? No, it's impossible. Submarines definitely don't make such a big noise. Is it some new weapon? Amid the discussion of a group of people, Shanh Wu's huge head poked out like a hill. Then, its huge body like an island began to surface. A black deep-sea monster, a giant turtle with a body length of hundreds of meters, appeared in front of everyone. Deng Shintong, Li Long, and others narrowed their eyes. Even they felt the strong pressure and shock for the first time. Deng Shintong took a deep breath, frowned, and said, Epsilon-class aliens? Now, what can we use to fight? To put it bluntly, even the lowest-level Epsilon-class aliens can beat them in a group. The huge Shanh Wu in front of them, as the highest combat power in the East China Sea region, must be strong. Even it has appeared, so the Jiangnan region has almost no chance in this mission competition. Zhang Yi and Ling Hu Feishue looked at each other, and they both understood each other's thoughts. Although Shanh Wu is powerful, it is limited by its size and cannot land. In Other words, they still have a chance to get the source of God. But if Shanh Wu is roaming around Shingda, it will indeed bring a huge sense of oppression. Li Tianyang was very satisfied with the expressions of the people in the Jiangnan region. He spread his hands and said with a smile, "Let me introduce you. This is the trump card of our East China Sea region for Spirit Fleet Shanh Wu. And this time we are going to Shingda. We will take it." Situ Xian narrowed his eyes, and it was not difficult to see the shocked expression on his face. After a long time, he sighed, "I didn't expect that even Shanh Wu was dispatched. It seems that this time, your Donghai district is determined to get that thing." Li Tianyang said to Situ Xian with a smile, "We are brother war zones. Minister Situ doesn't have to worry. After we get that thing, we will give you the resources as agreed." Situ Xian smiled. That would be the best. While everyone else focused on Shanh Wu, Zhang Yi was carefully observing the others around him. This time, the Donghai district also dispatched a large number of top combat forces. The 4 Spirit Fleet, this time Qinglong, Baihu, Zhuke, and Shanh Wu were all dispatched. In addition, the combat forces of several other fleets were also in the crowd, standing behind the 4 spirits. Looking closely, there were 2 teams composed of top aliens. Shanh Wu opened its mouth, revealing a huge passage inside. Li Tianyang stretched out his hand and motioned Qinglong and others to go in first. After all the people from the Donghai district entered, it was the turn of the people from the Jiangnan district. The space inside the Shanh Wu is very wide. It has long been built into a super battleship. It is not a problem to accommodate thousands of people. This time, the East China Sea region also arranged hundreds of professional investigators to cooperate with the aliens in the investigation. And everyone has their own expertise. The aliens may be good at fighting, but they're not so good at searching. And the 6 cities around the entire Fog Valley are completely covered by poisonous miasma. The magnetic field there fluctuates greatly due to the existence of the source of God. Not only can you not use the satellite system for navigation, you can't even use a compass. When you enter the poisonous miasma area, you can't even tell the east, south, west, and north clearly. Then, these professionals are particularly important. In order to prevent everyone from losing contact completely, the East China Sea region specially prepared a new set of communication chips that can be installed on everyone. In this way, the command center can keep track of everyone's location at any time and communicate with them. Zhang Yi silently took Huahua and Lele into the interior of the Shanh Wu. After everyone boarded the ship, the Shanh Wu closed its huge mouth and slowly sank into the water. It will start from the deepest part of the sea, cross the ocean, and then head toward Qingdao. Li Tianyang and Situ Xian called all the captains to a conference room in the middle to hold a combat meeting. "We will land in Bateau City on the coast of Qingdao, and then split into 2 teams to set off. Each of the pioneer reconnaissance teams will be responsible for exploring the way and then leave marks as a guide. Subsequent alien teams will follow up. Now the entire Wudao is shrouded in poisonous miasma, and the island is full of dangerous, unknown creatures, so everyone must be careful when the time comes." When hearing this, Deng Shintong and others raised their eyebrows. Dangerous, unknown creatures? The East China Sea region did not inform the Jiangnan region in detail about this matter. However, this may also be one of the reasons why the East China Sea region needs to join forces with the Jiangnan region. If the source of God is so easy to get, they will not be kind enough to share it with the Jiangnan region. Li Tianyang sat upright on a chair with a 3-dimensional map of Qingdao in front of him. He held a baton in his hand and randomly pointed at an area. "Several teams in the Jiangnan region, your strength is relatively weak, so you will start from Jinfeng City. And several teams in our East China Sea region will move forward from Corrado. We will split into 2 groups, one on the left and one on the right." Seeing the route arranged by Li Tianyang, the faces of all the people in the Jiangnan region changed slightly. Because according to the map, Jinfeng City is the farthest from Wugu, and it is obvious that Corrado is the closest to Wugu. And there is another biggest problem. That is the location of Jinfeng City, which is closer to Neon and Marley. According to previous speculation, The Columbia Navy has been keeping an eye on the two regions of Huashu country, trying to get information about the source of God. So now, they may have locked the area around Shingda, but they don't know the exact location. The joint action of the two regions and the dispatch of such a large-scale force could not be completely concealed from the Columbia Navy. It was only a matter of time before they came to our door. At that time, the Jiangnan region's alien team in Jinfeng City would most likely bear the main pressure from the Columbia Navy. This unreasonable allocation plan directly made the captains of the Jiangnan region angry. Zhang Yi sneered and said, "Minister Li really has a good plan. You want all the benefits, but we have to bear the risks." Li Tianyang snorted coldly, staring at Zhang Yi and said, "And this risk is brought by you. Naturally, you have to bear it." He still gritted his teeth when he thought of that incident. "If you hadn't given us the wrong information, we would have obtained the source of God long ago." Zhang Yi glanced at him. "Is it yours?" "You." Li Tianyang was about to get angry, but was persuaded by the adjutant next to him. "Minister, calm down," Li Tianyang said with a stern face. "In short, this operation is led by our East China Sea region. My arrangement is even more well thought out." Chapter 939 Arrival at Star Island. Situ Xian turned his head and said with a smile, "Of course, we don't doubt Minister Li's kindness and strategy. It's just that our Jiangnan is relatively weak, but it is placed in a dangerous place, which is unacceptable to us." Li Tianyang explained, "The island is full of dangers. The closer to the fog valley, the more serious the danger." He put his hands in and said in a deep voice, "We have sent people in to investigate before. There is a terrible, mysterious creature around the fog valley. All the people sent to investigate died, and no one survived. And according to the fragments of intelligence we obtained, the closer to the fog valley, the more terrible the creature." Li Tianyang looked at Situ Xian. "Whether this is groundless or not, you Jiangnan district should know. The intelligence given to us by Sheng Jing once mentioned the existence of strange beasts around the source of the gods." Situ Xian narrowed his eyes and knocked on the armrest with his right hand. "The most detailed information about the source of the gods now comes from the part shared by the Shengjing district. And they did mention that when the source of the gods was first discovered in the Qinling Mountains, they encountered extremely strange events and the indescribable guardian." Li Tianyang continued, "Your strength is relatively weak, so it is most beneficial for the mission to succeed if we let the troops of the East Sea region approach the core area first." At this point, he sneered, with a bit of teasing on his face. "Besides, you don't really think that you can get the source of God, right? The East Sea region and the Jiangnan region joined forces, and the purpose from the beginning was just to ask them to help clear some troubles. For example, the Columbia Navy that might come, and the forces of other countries around. Be at ease to assist us, and when the source of God is in hand, you will naturally benefit." Li Tianyang knocked on the table hard. "And if the aliens from Columbia and other countries really appear, you'll be responsible for being there and help us delay time." Li Tianyang's tone and attitude made Deng Shintong and others frown. It also made them realize more deeply that without strong enough strength, there is no capital to negotiate with others. The aliens in the East Sea region are much stronger than them, so Li Tianyang can tell them without hesitation, "You came here just to help us get the source of God." But even though they were angry, they couldn't refute it. After all, the strength is there. Deng Shintong subconsciously glanced at Zhang Yi. Zhang Yi was actually concentrating on picking his ears. It seemed that Zhang Yi didn't care about Li Tianyang's arrogance at all. However, considering Zhang Yi's style of doing things all the time, Deng Shintong was also very helpless. Their top masters are like this. What else can they do? But no one can blame Zhang Yi for not being tough enough. Among so many people present, Zhang Yi is the only layman. If the captains from Blizzard City were not too weak, why would Zhang Yi be the first in the region? Deng Shintong took a deep breath and said no more. But he, Li Long, Ling Hu Feishue, and others all had unwilling looks in their eyes. There was a dark tide surging in everyone's heart. Even if it's a disadvantage, what does it matter? As long as there is a chance, they will try to get the opportunity to be promoted to Ypsilon. Situ Xin cast his eyes on Zhang Yi and other captains. Seeing Zhang Yi's attitude of not caring at all, he said to Li Tianyang, "Then do as Minister Li said. Even if you want to negotiate conditions, you still need capital. The East China Sea region has given enough face, promising to compensate the Jiangnan region with resources after obtaining the source of God. Even Zhu Zheng has tacitly agreed that he can't get the source of God." Among the main combat forces, Zhang Yi, who currently has the highest superpower index, did not speak, so naturally others would not be the first to speak out. Now they are in Xuanwu's belly. No one dares to underestimate the young man who is sitting next to him drinking tea in the form of a spirit. Half a day later, Xuanwu dived from the bottom of the sea and finally arrived near Shingda, an island country on the sea. The huge body boomed and raised huge waves and surfaced. From a distance, you can see that Shingda, a country, has a large area covered by dense poisonous miasma. Even if you go to the island in combat uniforms, everyone must take antidotes on time to prevent the poisonous miasma from invading the body. The space of dozens of meters above the island nation was all gray, and the visible range was no more than 10 meters. The big mouth of Xuanwu opened, and the vanguards of the two regions were the first to go out, directly taking out the assault boats and swimming in different directions. According to the plan, they will first conduct professional exploration, leave road signs for the subsequent alien troops, and then guide them to find the direction of the Fog Valley as quickly as possible. Zhang Yi and others came to the mouth of Xuanwu. A large group of people gathered here, but it didn't seem crowded. Xuanwu's spirit was also in the crowd, standing at the front of the aliens in the East China Sea region. Everyone looked at this Epsilon-level alien, their eyes filled with awe and admiration. Even the Minister of Operations Li Tianyang, an officer who was used to being arrogant on weekdays, smiled and flattered in front of him. After a while, the vanguard took the lead shore. Then, according to the original plan, the vanguard of the Jiangnan region headed for Jinfeng City and the vanguard of the Donghai region headed for Karadojan. But at this moment, Xuanwu's brows suddenly frowned. "He's coming." He just said this lightly, leaving everyone confused. The "he" in Xuanwu's mouth obviously refers to a specific person. Li Tianyang couldn't help asking, "Xuanwu, who is coming?" Xuanwu didn't look at the people around him, but suddenly disappeared in the mouth of his original body and appeared on his head the next second. His eyes were fixed on the distance. In the distance, at the end of the sea and sky, a huge white line stretched for hundreds of miles and approached this side rapidly. In that direction, Cartier stepped on a giant whale with a smirk on his face. Beside him, hundreds of huge deep-sea monsters and countless marine creatures made long and terrifying roars and came towards the joint forces of the two regions. Lord of the Sea, Lord of the Storm. These two old enemies on the sea, who had been confronting each other in the ocean area for a year, met again. Xuanwu warned everyone. "The Colombian Navy has discovered us. Something is not right, they came too fast. Maybe we have already exposed our tracks." Xuanwu's voice was low, but it brought great pressure and panic to others. Everyone's expression was extremely serious. Are they going to have a decisive battle with the Colombian Navy here before they land? Although in terms of strength, the top combat forces of their two regions will not be afraid. But they are really not qualified to participate in the battle of the two Epsilon levels. When the fight breaks out, I am afraid that most people will become cannon fodder. Chapter 940. I am good at escaping. No one expected that they would encounter the Colombian Navy just after arriving at Shingda. The way Cartier's appeared was too shocking. In the sea, his method of ruling all spirits with the absolute power was simply a bug. Especially when fighting in groups, he alone was comparable to a huge fleet. Even Xuanwu couldn't catch up with this. Maybe he was not afraid of Cartier's in a one-on-one fight, but his group fighting ability was far inferior to that of Cartier's. At this time, Cartier's was the leader, and there were dozens of warships behind him. Obviously, the Colombian Navy came prepared this time. It was as if they had known they would come. Li Tianyang's face was a little pale. At this time, the difficulty of the mission instantly increased by several levels. Although they were also prepared, they would be discovered by the Columbia Navy sooner or later. But they thought that they could at least seize the opportunity. Now, there was no advantage at all. What is going on? Why did the Columbia Navy appear here? Li Tianyang's eyes were red. An officer came over and said to him, "It's not just the Colombian Navy that's coming this time. We found that their fleet also includes warships from Japan, Silla, and Marley. This time they are a joint fleet, waiting for our arrival here." As soon as these words came out, the atmosphere on the scene became even more depressing. Deng Shentong frowned and said, "How could this be? Could it be that there are undercover agents from the other side among us?" An officer from the East China Sea region shook his head. "That's absolutely impossible. Shanh Wu has a shield installed in his body. Even if there is an undercover agent in this operation, it is impossible to send out the signal." Li Tianyang suddenly turned his head and stared at the people from the East China Sea region, especially Zhang Yi. "Did you leak the news?" Zhang Yi put his hand on Leilei's soft fur and didn't bother to pay attention to him. Situ Xian put his hands behind his back and said slowly, "Minister Li, don't be so excited. Do you think we could do such a stupid thing?" Li Tianyang was also so angry that he said it in anger. In fact, he also knew that the Jiangnan region would never do such a thing. If the source of God falls into the hands of the East China Sea region, they can still obtain a large amount of resources. But if it falls into the hands of the Columbia Navy, they will get nothing and their own interests will be damaged. Let alone any lofty ideas. From the perspective of their own interests, the people of the Jiangnan region will not do such a stupid thing. At this time, Qing Long expressed his thoughts. "I have a guess that perhaps they have already known the location of the source of God through various signs and intelligence fragments. It's just that they can't know the specific location of the source of God. But they know that we will definitely send troops to search. Therefore, they have been deploying troops in the surrounding seas. And when we appeared, they may have discovered us. So they followed us." The female Captain Zhuke among the four spirits looked at the enemy in the distant sea and expressed her opinion. "It is also possible that it is related to the Ocean Lord of Ipsilon." The East China Sea region also obtained limited information about the Ocean Lord. After all, Shanh Wu has never fought with courtiers, so naturally he doesn't know whether he has hidden cards. Situ Xian said, "At this point, we can only respond to the situation. We dare not start a war lightly, and the other side is also afraid. Let's see what their attitude is first." Li Tianyang nodded slowly, with a gloomy face. This time they gathered the top forces of the two regions, and the other side also gathered the alien forces of many countries. If they really fight, I don't know how many people will die. At that time, no matter who wins or loses, there will be heavy casualties, resulting in a sharp decline in the combat power of their own region. This is not the situation they want to see. The huge sea beast tide is getting closer and closer. Those deep-sea monsters that are like hills, each exudes a terrifying sense of oppression. They are twisted, powerful, and weird. Because of the mutation, they have ugly and grotesque shapes. Some of them can't even see what kind of creatures they are mutated from. The hideous appearance and piercing howling made many warriors in the two regions look solemn. If they really fight, how can they deal with so many sea monsters? I'm afraid that only Catalyze alone can annihilate half of them. Those below the captain level are powerless in the face of such a true appearance. This is also an important reason why Cartier's ability index is set at 18,000 points. He is a real war machine, and one person is comparable to a large modern fleet. The joint fleet of the Sea Beast Tide and Columbia and other countries stopped on the sea 6 or 7 miles away. They did not launch an attack. Li Tianyang received a call request from the Columbia Navy. Li Tianyang heard this, his expression gloomy, but he still turned and walked towards the body of Shanh Wu. Situ Xian, as the second person in charge of this operation, naturally followed him. This time the call lasted a bit long, more than half an hour. Zhang Yi rested there against Leilei's huge body as if nothing had happened. It seemed as if nothing had anything to do with him. Others had no way of knowing the outcome of the negotiation and could only wait here. But compared to Zhang Yi, Others were more or less nervous. After all, the current situation could lead to a fight. Seeing Zhang Yi slacking off, Qinglong couldn't help but come over and ask, "Why are you so open-minded? It's already this time. Aren't you afraid of a fight?" Zhang Yi made a reassuring gesture to him. "It's okay. I'm best at escaping." As soon as these words came out, the expression on Qinglong's face froze instantly. Deng Shintong and other aliens in the Jiangnan region showed an embarrassed look on their faces and turned their faces away one by one, trying to say that they didn't know Zhang Yi. The aliens in the East China Sea region couldn't help laughing. The number one person in the Jiangnan region, a master codenamed Chaos, was thought to be a tough guy. Unexpectedly, he was a guy who only thought about how to escape when he arrived at the battlefield. It was really funny. Are all the people from Jiangnan district like this? Well, after all, they have stayed in a comfortable place for too long. When there is no tiger in mountain, the monkey becomes king. If he were in our district, I'm afraid he could only be an ordinary fleet commander. He can't even be ranked among the four spirits. Of course, who in our four spirits fleet is not a top-notch warrior who has experienced hundreds of battles. Facing the discussions of the people around him, Zhang Yi didn't care at all. He was not interested in being a hero, so why should he let others worship him? This thing can't be eaten, so it's not of much use to him. Chapter 941 Departure to Star Island. After a long time, Li Tianyang and Situ Xian finally came out of Xuanwu's body. Situ Xian's expression was still like that of an old man with a faint smile, but this smile was a little uncomfortable. Li Tianyang's face was even darker and uglier. He put his hands behind his back and said to everyone, "We have reached an agreement with the Colombian Joint Fleet. Both sides rely on their own abilities to enter Shingda to find the source of God." As soon as this was said, the whole room was in an uproar. Rely on their own abilities? Doesn't that mean we have to fight the opponent's Epsilon? Xuanwu is too big, and it is difficult to land, but the opponent can. Are we going to fight against the Lord of the Oceans? That would obviously be a fatal matter. Even Zhang Yi looked sideways. He had fought with Cartiers before and knew how terrifying that guy's strength was. Even if he left the ocean, his strength was definitely not something that a Delta-level alien could imagine. If that were the case, their action would become a complete joke. Don't worry. Our Epsilon-class aliens will not go to the island to participate in this competition, Li Tianyang said loudly. The only ones who will compete with you are the aliens from the other countries. And what you have to do is to get ahead of them and seize the source of God. His eyes suddenly became fierce. Of course, if conditions permit, it is best to eliminate them as much as possible in this place. The mission level this time is S level. Every time you kill an alien from the enemy, you'll be rewarded according to your merits, and you can choose the resources of the two major districts. The aliens sent by the two major districts are all top aliens. Isn't it the same for the other side? If enough top combat power of the other side can be wiped out here, especially the captain-level aliens, it will definitely cause a big blow to the other side. Zhang Yi understood the meaning of Li Tianyang's words. The Epsilons of both sides check and balance each other. If the Lord of the Ocean lands, then all their other troops at sea will be killed by Xuanwu. So even if Cartiers can survive, none of their top leaders can be spared. Everyone is not stupid, and they will not play this kind of home exchange tactics. Let the aliens below the Delta level take action, and the situation can be controlled within an acceptable range. Deng Shintong and others nodded after hearing this. Zhang Yi's analysis is indeed very reasonable. Deng Shintong leaned over and asked quietly, "Then now that the plan of the East China Sea region has been disrupted, there is no need for us to act completely according to their command." Zhang Yi glanced at him. "Don't say that if the Colombian Navy doesn't come, you'll listen to their orders." Deng Shintong smiled, and the corners of the mouths of several other investigation captains also showed a slight smile. Obviously, everyone thought of the same thing. Although the addition of alien troops from Colombia and other countries has increased the difficulty of obtaining the source of God. But the more chaotic the situation is, the greater their chances are. As the saying goes, wealth and honor are sought in danger. The two regions and the joint forces made an agreement, and both sides immediately arranged their alien troops to enter the huge poisonous miasma area of Shingda. However, there were some minor changes in the arrangement of this operation. With more competitors, everyone had to race against time. On the one hand, beware of friendly forces, and on the other hand, beware of hostile forces. Friendly forces will only prevent you from getting the source of God, but the enemy will take your life. Situ Xian looked at Li Tianyang. Now that a third-party force has appeared, our actions must be replanned. We can't continue like this. Especially the reconnaissance troops. They encountered the other side's aliens and were almost annihilated. Li Tianyang said, as a soldier, you should have the awareness of sacrificing your life for the country. As long as they can buy time for us, it is worth it for them to die in battle. Now it's not a game, but a life-and-death struggle. I won't be soft-hearted. Situ Xian was silent. Li Tianyang suddenly smiled and said, if you want to withdraw your people, I don't care. But they must all go to the battlefield. Li Tianyang pointed at Zhang Yi and others and said. Situ Xian laughed. Look at what you said. People in your East China Sea region are not afraid of death, so are people in our Jiangnan region afraid of death? A haze passed through his heart. But now, in order to compete for the source of God, the scale of the war has been upgraded. That's right, this is no longer a simple treasure hunt, but a war of huge scale. After the end of the world, the rules of the world have changed. If the strength of the aliens is quantified, then the strength of each investigation team is comparable to a powerful army with the most advanced weapons. The number of people on this battlefield may be far less than the war before the end of the world. But it has gathered the two regions of Huashu country, as well as more than 50% of the power of the Columbia Ocean Fleet and surrounding countries. Therefore, even if they know that those weak scouts are likely to die, they still have to do it. I believe that the Columbia Navy will choose the same approach. Li Tianyang said coldly. We can't afford to lose. He suddenly turned around and looked at the aliens in the two districts. Now go. Go to your battlefield and take back the source of God. The three teams of Qinglong, Baihu, and Suzaku were the first to arrive at Shingda by speedboat. They will go to Fog Valley as quickly as possible with the assistance of scouts according to the prior arrangement. It's time for us to set off. Zhang Yi touched the fur of Huahua and Lele. Deng Shintong nodded. That's right, it's time for us to act. Chaos. What are you going to do? Zhang Yi looked at him expressionlessly. I'm not talking to you. Deng Shintong, huh? Zhang Yi sneered. I'm talking to my cats and dogs. You are really sociable. Zhang Yi said, and took out a speedboat, taking Huahua and Lele away alone. Deng Shintong, Lilong, Jingwei, and Taotai looked at him, all speechless. The number one master in the Jiangnan region just left alone. Is he a lone wolf? Deng Shintong stroked his forehead helplessly. It doesn't matter, I will do it. Taotai, the captain of the demon team, came over. He was not very old, but he looked like a handsome silver-haired boy. However, it seemed that due to his age, he was not very tall, only about 1.6 meters. I don't plan to act with you. After he finished speaking coldly, he also selected a speedboat and then took the members of his investigation team to set off for Jinfeng City. Seeing this, the members of the other investigation teams also began to land on the island one after another. However, no one had the intention to cooperate with others. The Jiangnan region did not rule everyone with absolute strength. The East China Sea region had Shanh Wu, and Columbia had Cartiers. In the Jiangnan region, even if Zhang Yi was called the number one master, he was not Epsilon after all. This made the other captains, except Deng Shintong, more or less unconvinced. Without a backbone, gathering together would only hinder each other, and no one was willing to listen to others. And on the other hand, since the goal is to find the source of God, then acting separately can increase the probability of finding it. If we stick together for warmth, what if others get there first? What's more, if the source of God is really found, even people from the same region will become competitors. Stay tuned for more. Please subscribe if you have not already. Thanks, really appreciated, my dear viewers.